I'm going to be ranking the best point guards right now in NBA 2K23. My team, we have a tier list here ranking from S that goes all the way down to D tier, and we have about 25 to 30 of the best point guards right now in the game. And you guys can let me know in the comment section down below who are some of your guys' favorite point guards to run in your squad, and of course, let me know what you guys would change about my tier list. But my first guy here on the tier list is going to be Lance Stephenson. I would say probably somewhere in that B tier category. Maybe C, but I do think probably for a point guard tier list, he deserves to be in B tier. He's still a great 6'5" point guard with a 6'10" wingspan. And the thing I like about Lance is he's just super well-rounded. Doesn't really have any necessarily flaws. He's a good defender. He can drive to the basket. He's actually a really good rebounder for a point guard. He can handle the rock pretty nicely. 94 ball handle, 92 speed with ball. He's also got Hall of Fame clamp breaker, quick first step, which is really cool on a 6'5" point guard. And then he's got some okay sigs and a pretty decent jump shot. So nothing too crazy for Lance Stephenson, but I feel like he's a good starting point guard, for a point guard tier list in that B tier category. Scottie Barnes, I think, is a top 5 point guard in the game. If you guys don't know, what I usually do for my tier list is S is going to be my top 5 point guards in the game, and I think Scottie Barnes probably is a top 5 point guard. I just think he's so elite on both sides of the ball, and mainly is one of the best point guard defenders in the game, being 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, and just has some crazy defensive stats and badges. And also, like, his tendencies might not be the best, like only a 10 on-ball steal tendency, but this card gets a ton of pluck animations and is a great shot blocker as well. Like, does he have Hall of Fame chase down? I'm surprised he doesn't, because he gets a lot of chase down animations, and all around can drive to the basket, knocked on a 3, and they gave him some very good dribble sigs with the Steve Francis size up and the John Wall escape. Like, yes, his jump shot might not be amazing, but the fact that Scottie Barnes can move at this high of a level for a 6'8" shooting guard, for a 6'8" point guard that plays that good to defense, I do think he's most likely a top 5 point guard in the game. Galaxy Curry, I think you gotta go C tier. I mean, you can still be very effective with this card, but he's only 6'3". He's going to be a little bit of a liability on defense. And then offensively, yes, he's still a really good 3 hunter, but I would say Steph Curry probably in my C tier category. Luke Walton, I will leave an A tier for now. I'm not 100% sure if he is a top 5 point guard. I do think he's really close. If he's not top 5, he's probably number 6 or number 7, and he could be that 5th and final spot. But I just want to keep him in A tier for now, just to see, what point guards we do on this list. But I do think Luke Walton is an amazing point guard, 6'8", great jump shot, and overall just great play at the point guard position. Damian Lillard, the moments card, I would say probably C tier. I mean, kind of same situation as Steph Curry. He's going to be a liability on defense, but is actually pretty good on offense. But at this time of the year, if you're under like 6'3", you better be like an amazing offensive card, or like GP, where GP's 6'4", but he has such good defensive stats and badges, and overall GP plays way taller than 6'4" in game. But I think for Dame and Steph Curry, they both got to be in that C tier category. Next point guard is going to be Denny, and I think Denny is honestly either high B tier or low A tier. I think I'm gonna keep him in B for now. We have so many good point guards in the game. I know it might seem crazy to have Denny in B, and he'll probably end up being in the A tier category, but for now, I think B tier is fair. Pete Maravich, like, I like Pete Maravich over a card like Denny Advia. I think Pete is an absolute baller at the point guard position, and one of the more underrated point guards right now in my team. I think he's an absolute beast, at least on offense. Like, yes, defensively, he's not going to be great, but it's not like he's a bad defender by any means. He's got a Hall of Fame anchor, which is really nice for getting paint stops. He's got a 95 steal, 95 lateral quickness, and a 95 perimeter, and then he's also got an 80 block and an 85 interior defense. I mean, just for what this card can do on offense, with his jump shot being really good and some of the best dribble sigs in the game, I do think Pete Maravich is most likely going to be in my A tier category, and I would definitely take him over a guy like Denny Advia. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is another B tier point guard. I do like him a little bit more than a Steph Curry and a Damian Lillard, but I think he's probably low B tier, maybe high C, but I'll keep him in the B tier category for now. Gary Payton, I do believe, is A tier. I like him more than Denny and Lance Stephenson. I think Gary Payton, like I said when I was talking about Curry and Dame, he just plays so much taller than 6'4" in game, and that's probably because of his stats, his badges, and his tendencies and animations on the defensive end are so glitchy. I think he's a top maybe 10 point guard in the game. If he's not top 10, he's probably like top 12, and I do believe he's probably in that A tier category. James Harden is an interesting one. 1, I would say for me personally, probably in the B tier category. I think him and Denny is a very close debate. Really depends what you need between offense and defense. I don't think these two point guards are on the same level as a Luke Walton or a Gary Payton or a Pete Maravich. I mean, Pete Maravich is just a better James Harden, where they're both 6'5". They're not great defenders, but they're not bad defenders. And then offensively, I personally like a guy like Pete Maravich a lot more. He's got a better jump shot and better dribble sigs, and even a way better leaner as well. So for me personally, I think I'm gonna keep Harden and Denny in the B tier category for now, but they are top of B tier, and you could realistically argue in the A tier category. Tyler Hero though, I feel like he's also got to be in B tier. I think he's just like either slightly better or slightly worse than a card like James Harden. I know a lot of people, or at least some people, are gassing him up like crazy and saying he's like a top 10, top 5 point guard. I just personally don't agree with him. I did recently get him on my main account, and I've been trying him out, and I don't know, like, he's got the Steve Francis size up, which is really cool. He's got a decent jump shot, so his movement and his animations are going to be good, but for whatever reason, I just don't know if I like his jump shot that much. I think it's a decent release, but it's not like a super fast jump shot as I was kind of expecting it to be. Next up, point guard is going to be Ben Simmons. Once again, kind of same situation as Luke Walton. I think Ben Simmons is right on that cusp of being a top 5 point guard and potentially could be in the top 5 range in that S tier category, but I think for now, I'm going to keep him in A tier. Next point guard is going to be Russell Westbrook. I think once again, is on the same level of a James Harden, a Denny, a Tyler Hero. Yes, he's going to be undersized, and I think he's dropped a lot on the top 10 point guard list, or just in the point guard list in general, because I don't think he's a top 10 point guard anymore, just because of his liability on the defensive end, only being 6'3". So I do feel like Russell Westbrook is still a very good offensive point guard, and that's why he's in the B tier category, but I do think he's probably got to be in B. I would say Dwayne Wade is either high B or low A tier. I would say high B. I think Dwayne Wade is kind of overrated a little bit, or like, he's not overrated because a lot of people don't like this card. I would say he's like fairly rated because his jump shot is just too slow and quick timing. If it was on very quick, or if he had a new jump shot, I think he'd be so much better at the point guard position and would easily be an A tier, but I just can't put him higher than B. And that jump shot, like, I like Denny's release a lot more than Dwayne Wade, and Denny's 6'9" and plays just as good as defense in game because of his height and his player model as well. Jamal Crawford, kind of like these 3 point guards, all very good on the offensive end. I mean, I wouldn't say Jamal Crawford is a liability on defense, but I mean, he's just not going to be a good defender. Very mid defensive stats. I mean, he's got some on gold, but he's missing like challenger, you know, brick wall is pretty key. So he's an okay defender, and offensively, he does have this Steve Francis size up. Not sure how I feel about this jump shot, only on quick timing. So I'd say Jamal Crawford, probably somewhere in that C tier category. Jimmy Butler, I do believe, is the new best point guard in the game. It took me a little bit to realize that and, you know, figure out that Jimmy Butler is super elite. He's just such a good defender. He's basically Scotty Barnes, but with a better release. That's the way I kind of look at Jimmy Butler, and a little bit worse movement wise. Scotty does have better sigs, but all around, I think Jimmy Butler is the best point guard in the game. JJ Redick, kind of similar to Curry, very similar to a guy like Damian Lillard. Very good on offense. He's just a liability on defense. That's kind of most of these guys in C tier, and the reason why they're in C and not that B tier spot. Jrue Holiday, I would say Jrue is probably B or C. I'm not sure exactly. Jrue Holiday is probably like a C plus, I would say, or a B minus. That's kind of where I would go with Jrue Holiday. I do like him more than like a Curry and a Dame, so I will throw Jrue Holiday in that B tier category for now. Magic Johnson, once again, I think he's on that cusp of a top 5 point guard range. There's so many good new point guards in the game that a lot of them will be in A tier for now, but I can promise you, 1 out of these 3, or maybe even 2 out of these 3, Luke Walton, Magic Johnson, and Ben Simmons, will most likely be in my top 5 point guard range. Just want to, like, in my S tier, just want to keep them in A tier for now, because I'm not like 100% sure who I do want to put in S tier. Luka Doncic, I mean, that release just isn't great. Not a great defender, not good at going to the basket, and has a mid-power jump shot. Yes, he's 6'7" at point guard, but I think Luka Doncic is probably in that C tier category. Mac McClung is going to be maybe our first D tier point guard. He's just what, 6'1", 6'2". I want to move some cards down into D tier. I mean, 6'2". I mean, maybe he's C tier. His sigs just really aren't that good, man. He's got no good sigs. His jump shot's okay. I would say Mac McClung's probably in the D tier category, even though I think he's a really fun point guard to use. I would take Jimmer Fredette over him because Jimmer Fredette is actually really good on the offensive end. He's one of the better offensive point guards in the game. He's just 6'2" and plays very little defense. So, I mean, you could honestly argue Jimmer Fredette in the B tier category, because I think he's not that much worse than a card like De'Aaron Fox, because he actually does have really good defensive stats. Yeah, I'd throw Jimmer probably in that B tier category. I think he's on the same level as like a De'Aaron Fox type of card. Don Ole, I think I kind of think is like C tier, man. I don't think Donald is that great. He's only 6'3". He's got some okay stats. He's a little bit outdated. He got released like almost 2 seasons ago now, so I would say probably Donald in that like high C tier category. I do like him probably more than most C tier point guards. It's kind of hard to rank these smaller guards like De'Aaron Fox, you know, Don Old, Jimmer Fredette. It's kind of hard to rank these guys because they're going to be liabilities on the defensive end. It just really comes down to who you like more on offense. Oscar Robertson, I would say, is most likely going to be an A tier. I'm not really like the biggest fan of this card, but I do understand he's got a great jump shot, or sorry, he's got a good jump shot, and he's got decent sigs as well. So I would say Oscar Robertson for me going to be an A tier. Penny Hardaway, I think just because of his height, that does add some value nowadays to be able to guard these tall point guards. I would say Penny Hardaway still going to be in that B tier category. Sengun, 1000% for me personally, is going to be a top 5 point guard. I like him more than a Ben Simmons and a Magic Johnson. I think these might be the 3 best point guards in the game, but then we also got to talk about LaMelo Ball, who I do think is going to be a top 5 point guard in the game. I know he's not one of these new out of position cards, but he is still so elite at that point guard position. And then the final point guard is going to be Shea, who I will throw in that B tier category. So now guys, we have to move 1 or maybe even 2 point guards into that S tier category. I would say for me personally, I might go Ben Simmons or Luke Walton. I think that's really the debate. I think I'm gonna go Ben Simmons just because of his player model. I think I'll also move up Denny and probably Dwayne Wade into that A tier category just to balance out the tier list a little bit more. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about my top 5 point guards in the game. Would you guys maybe go Luke Walton or Magic Johnson over anybody in S tier? Let me know what you guys think about my overall point guard tier list as well. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.